Whew, thank God I'm into dudes. Hi everyone and welcome back to the Upside Down. I saw Obsession at an early access screening and I'm here to give you my spoiler-free thoughts on the film. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this. So, what did I think of Obsession? First of all, my expectations and hype and excitement, whatever you want to call it, for this film were through the roof. It's like I was obsessed with it before even seeing the film itself. I also only watched the teaser trailer of a guy in a car calling someone asking if they can alter their wish. My excitement came from my love for Curry Barker, Cooper Tomlinson, and their social media content on the channel That's a Bad Idea. I liked their comedic sketches and their short films on their YouTube channel. I was very impressed with Milk and Cereal, Curry's first longer short film on their YouTube channel. These guys are creative geniuses and are both multi-talented. That's why I was so hyped for Obsession. I even got a Wish Willow replica shirt and the popcorn bucket. And that was all before seeing the film. I also loved how a couple of the posters for the film were key creepy scenes in the movie. The flowers and the Nicky dimly lit outside Bear's door are the ones I'm referring to. The one of him in his car with the silhouette of her in the background is fantastic, but that's more obvious in its approach, while the other two are more ominous and subtle until you watch the movie. And the one with her dimly lit red with that obsessive look in her eyes, and the one that's a close-up of her eye with a heart as the pupil are both fantastic as well. I love all of the posters for this film, really. The promotional material has been great for this film. And I'm not even talking about the trailers because, like I said, I've only watched the teaser. That and the fantastic reviews out of festivals and earlier screenings upped my hype even more. And surprisingly, Obsession still did not let me down. I say surprisingly not because I didn't believe in Curry Barker and his team. I just talked about how I very much do. But I say surprisingly because my excitement level was so high, it would have been damn near impossible for a film to fully live up to it. But it ended up being everything I hoped for, or should I say, wished for. Curry Barker proves he's the real deal with Obsession, and I'd even argue he proved it already with just the That's a Bad Idea channel and Milk and Cereal. He's super creative, funny, witty, and his love for horror and filmmaking in general is on full display here. He has a keen vision and talent for directing and storytelling. There are a lot of creative and fantastic shots in Obsession. Taylor Clemens needs to be given a shout out here for the camera work. There are some truly unsettling shots. One that stands out is Nicky outside of Bear's apartment after he opens the door. The lighting is perfect, and it's shot in a way where you see the unsettling glow in her eyes. Cooper Tomlinson and Megan Lawless are great as Ian and Sarah. Their characters add another layer to the story that was definitely needed. Barker and the cast do a fantastic job with balancing just 4 main characters and making a compelling story with such a small main cast. Michael Johnston and especially Inde Navarrette as our leads, Bear and Nicky, are phenomenal and the true standout performances. Navarrette's ability to do numerous different facial expressions and creepy body movements is astounding, and she shows true devotion to the role. She is intensely unsettling and then super sweet at the drop of a hat. Johnston and Navarrette have insanely palpable chemistry. Johnston is good from the start, but he just gets better and better as his character unravels. The film is a great example of when the audience knows this is just building up to something more and more sinister, and that build up and payoff is completely satisfying. I felt uneasy for the majority of the runtime, thanks to the directing, writing, and the acting, and just the impending doom you can feel coming. I liked how they kind of played with our perception in the first couple minutes after the wish. Did this thing actually work or not? Can I believe her or not? Because she'd say and do crazy things in those first few minutes after the wish, but then act normal or give a reason to believe her. And that continues throughout the film. You just know whether the wish worked or not. The gore effects are outstanding. There are a few uses of violence, but there is one sequence that is going to satisfy gorehounds especially. They even had to cut some of that scene to avoid an NC-17 rating. Other than that scene, don't expect much else on that level of brutality. There are still other scenes of violence and gnarly imagery though. There is also gross out bodily fluid and stuff, horror in there. The screenplay had aspects on the positive side and on the negative side for me, but the positive side far outweighs the negative side. The positives are the overall story and lore. Curry Barker isn't interested in doing a bunch of tropes of the genre like Googling and going to a professional or someone who has gone through this before or something similar. I do think those have their merit, and if a person in real life was actually going through this, they do those things, but it has really felt overused in film. Bear does look up a couple of things, and we do see a site that is basically Reddit with comments from others on the subject. There isn't really an overly long exposition dump of a scene, and there are no scenes of consulting a professional or survivor on this, who would also just give an exposition dump. Barker shows and gives clues, so we can learn or infer a lot of the lore of the One Wish Willow, whether it's on a phone call to One Wish Willow, which was voiced by Barker, a creepy creative writing reading by Nikki at a party, random scary outbursts by Nikki, or a nighttime plea in the dark from a voice of innocence. The movie gives you enough without flat out explaining the lore and inner workings of the One Wish Willow. I think this film and its cast and crew took a premise about a wish gone bad and elevated it to something more innovative and creative. I liked the ending a lot as well. I'm so happy this stuck the landing. This movie is also pretty funny, which is not a surprise coming from the That's a Bad Idea crew. Curry and Cooper just come off as naturally funny and talented dudes. I love their friendship and their sense of humor. I love a good horror comedy, and this one balances the two genres pretty well. Kinda random, but I also like how they named him Bear. That's just so different and probably not the name of many characters, if any, before him. I wonder if they came up with it because of the bear or man debate. For those who don't know, that was kind of a viral thing where girls said they'd rather come across a bear in the woods over a random man. I have a couple criticisms on the screenplay that are really just small nitpicks in the grand scheme of how much I enjoyed it. I liked the first act enough, but it definitely wasn't firing on all cylinders, and it took a little bit to get going. But since I knew the general premise, I still felt a little uneasy knowing where it was leading to. The dialogue at times is cringy and doesn't seem real. Now, I'm bad at noticing bad dialogue, and I also think I'd write dialogue and have written dialogue like this. I noticed it a few times in the first act of the film mostly. From the inciting wish scene on, I was having too much fun to really care about all that. Maybe this was just because my expectations were so high, and when I rewatched this film, I won't think the first act dragged at all. My friends I went with loved the film, and also weren't big on the first act. They seemed to like the beginning less than I did. With that said about the first act, I thought it built up the characters and their dynamics very well. It made the friendships and the crushes believable. And a very important thing is it showed us enough of how Nikki actually is before Bear makes this wish, so it makes the change more drastic and impactful. The film has a good excuse for why a character would stick around or accept things another did and not run away. One, he actually cares about Nikki and doesn't want to see her hurt. Two, if he did run, she would find him or obsess too much to the point of ending her life. That one I'm more speculating on. Three, he's afraid. But Bear did this to himself. Of course, he didn't think it would work, or if it did, he would never imagine it would do something like this. And really, both him and her are victims here. At least at first, or to a degree with him. What happened to her because of him was super wrong, though, and she's the true victim. But yeah, no, if it didn't have this kind of element, you would be like, run, dude. I mean, you're like, run, dude, anyway. It gets crazy, it gets insane, it gets brutal. It's very sinister. Remember, even though I loved it, and the majority of people have been loving it so far, it's fine if you don't. Horror is one of the most subjective genres, along with comedy, in the already subjective art form that is film. I'm hyping it up a lot, I know. I truly loved this movie, but not everyone will. But I think it's very effective in what it is doing, and I haven't felt this way about a straight-up horror film in a long time. Obsession gets a 4.5 out of 5 from me. That's a 4.5 out of 5 for Obsession. If you liked what you've seen here and you want to see some more content from me, please click around here to see some other content from me. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video with the movie fans in your life. Hit that notification bell, subscribe, and come to the Upside Dan.